Sorry about that. I had a wasp come in on Saturday. Possibly through that hole over there, which you won't be able to see very well, but the pipes actually lead up and lead to the roof. There's also one at the main entrance as well. But wasp managed to get in on the bathroom window. And now, ever since, I have been on edge. Because if there is a wasp nest up in my roof, it's not going to be fun time with friends, let me tell you. But of course you didn't come here to find out about the potential shitstorm that's about to hit me. No. Good evening, everyone. I want to talk about what happened at the family school. Is it Michaela or Kara or whatever it is school? Basically, there was one head teacher in there who has a prayer ban up in this school. And this ban was contested by a Muslim student. Can you really be surprised at this point? But I digress. After I clean my hands. Anyway, this female Muslim pupil said that it infringes on her faith. Now bear in mind that the school is actually 50% Muslims, about half population, give or take maybe 1% or 2. And there is no segregation either. There is no whites in one class, blacks in another, guys and girls, etc., etc. This is purely a school for people to learn. Some of the best students go to some of the best places after this. Now, why do I mention this? Well, as said, Muslim pupil lost her court case. And what does that mean? Means that Muslims now have basically been given 2 fingers, as they quite rightly deserve, quite frankly. Because what this is basically a story of arrogance. This Muslim pupil thinks that the school should revolve around her. But it gets even spicier than that, you see, because anybody who knows Islam knows that these people have an absolute tendency to fly off the rails. Oh my god, I put too much lemon in the sink. Anyway, they have a tendency to go off the rails. And literally in some cases. And by that, I mean they tend to get a little violent. But is that really any surprise right now, considering how many grooming gang crimes tend to be committed by Pakistani Muslim men, 84%? Is it any surprise when our prisons are basically training camps for Muslims, extremists to be precise? And is it really any surprise when they actively show time and time again that whenever they don't get their way, they throw their toys out of the pram? It would have to be a pretty fucking big pram though, considering it's supposed to be a family school, not a nursery. But I digress. They decided, these hardliners of Islam, to go out of their way to harass members of staff of that school. And even gave some extremely racist shit. That's genuine racism, by the way, not woke racism. But they decided to be racist to a black teacher. But I thought it was only white people who could be racist. I hear some people saying, to which I would say that's a fairly good point. But here's the thing. They were saying some pretty nasty shit to them and just giving general harassment. On top of all that, there was one woman, I believe, one member of staff, who basically had a brick thrown through their window. Isn't it funny how the mainstream media loves to admit these kinds of details, but GB News didn't, thankfully, since they had the whole interview. I'm sorry, this thing is absolutely killing me here. It's just dirty, something awful. Anyway, they basically expressed they were being harassed by these Islamists. Kettle. Anyway, they were showing these Islamists just how hardline they really were, And basically what happens when they don't get their way. She wanted to have the school bend its rules around her. When she got told no, Islam got violent, as per usual. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. Because, say it with me folks, it doesn't suit the narrative. That's why you will never hear it on the BBC, Channel 4, Sky News, or maybe I was right first time, and other such mainstream outlets. They will never tell you that. But what it boils down to is, I think her name is Barbara something or other. I can't remember off the top of my head, this head teacher. But I'll be linking the video in the description below so you guys have got the whole picture. Don't just take my word for it. And it's already been reported on by fucking Reverend Simon Sideways as well. So he's got another point of view you can have. But effectively, she took on the baying mob and won. And as said, stuck 2 fingers up at Islam. That, in and of itself, makes her a very respectable woman indeed. It already makes her a national treasure, some might say, for the simple fact that she has basically done what a lot of people wish they could do. We need more instances where common sense prevails, as Patrick said, and basically Islam is told, no, we don't conform to you, you conform to us, because it's our country. Just like this is my house. My house, my rules, same logic applies, our country, our fucking rules. And if Islam doesn't like it, they can take their Dark Age death cult and fuck off to the nearest airport. Or dinghy, I don't care. And fuck right off back to wherever you came from. And if you're a British-born Islamist, if you hate our country so much, we'll happily send you off to somewhere like, I don't know, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Syria. Like those options? No? Well, tough shit, they're the only ones you're going to get. Because we don't want cunts like you, Islamic extremist motherfuckers who think they can get away with just about anything. And then when shit goes south and, we're not getting what we want, fucking throw their toys out of the pram. And don't worry, that towel's getting a clean later. Anyway, that's basically what they do every single time. When things go south, throw everything out the pram. Get violent, get stabby, get horny, that kind of thing. But again, mainstream media will not like to tell you that because it would undermine their narrative. And thank God, this woman's got a pair of balls, whether up here or down there, or in my case, both. But at the end of the day, we need to be teaching these Muslims a lesson, no pun intended, that we do not make special allowances because of your fucking religion. I barely got any special privileges when I was autistic and I went to school. I can still remember the support teacher who helped me out with that. Mrs. Jones, I believe. But this isn't about me. But when I have autism, as some of you may know, and I only got that help for 1 fucking year. Whether I deserve it or not, I'm not going to debate. But what I will say is if it was a struggle for my family to get that kind of help for me, and I have a genuine issue with me, rather than, I believe I should be allowed to pray because of my religion, it stands to reason why this Muslim has been stopped from having her way. Remember, Islamists, this is our country. And as I said, if you don't like it, fuck off. Our country, our rules. And if you don't like it, you can take your Dark Age death cult and shove it. Shove it back to wherever you came from. And as the saying goes, you can take a Muslim out of the Dark Ages, but you can't take the Dark Ages out of the Muslim. At the end of the day, they're probably going to be set in their ways. They still think that by toughing themselves up like some fucking gorilla, that they're going to get you to cower down or bend the knee and give in to Islam. But we can show them now, because someone's already done it, and they're not even a man, that all you need to do is have a pair of balls to stand up to these spineless cowards and tell them no. You are a guest of our country. You conform to our rules. And as I said, if they don't like it, they can go back to whatever shithole they came from.